First, don't just balance the budget, change the model. Now, don't get me wrong, we have to balance our budgets. I noticed the Chancellor is taking notes on that. We have to balance our budgets. But that's often a Band-Aid, not a solution. The first response to financial constraint is usually austerity, in the worst case taking the form of across-the-board cutbacks, or under slightly better circumstances, incremental growth, in hopes of sharing and minimizing the pain among all the various constituencies. In a temporary or cyclical downturn, this kind of budget strategy would probably make sense as a means of riding out the storm. In the midst of a long-term structural shift, however, such a strategy serves only to delay the inevitable and make the ultimate reckoning far more painful and costly. The only way to solve for both fiscal constraint and better outcomes is to fundamentally change the business model. In the K-12 world, especially in larger urban districts, a new model implies deconstructing the centralized command and control approach to management that dominates almost all of our school districts. Within an effective framework of fiscal responsibility, decisions about resources and staffing need to be pushed down to the school level as much as possible, leaving a smaller central office that is focused on adding value and ensuring accountability for results, rather than calling all the shots. In other words, we need to focus on creating systems of great schools rather than great school systems, especially in our larger urban districts. In higher education, we need to reconsider the underlying structures and operations of our 29 colleges and universities. As Clay Christensen has argued, one of the key lessons from the private sector is that big so-called disruptive change typically happens from outside in, through new technologies, products, and services that emerge from upstarts who challenge the larger, more entrenched industry leaders, initially at the margins of established markets, by addressing the needs of underserved consumers. This means that if we really want to see transformational change, we need to encourage and support education entrepreneurs, both inside and outside of our existing campuses, in creating new, innovative, scalable, and sustainable programs and organizations that promise to deliver more for less, especially for those students who are currently not finding access or success. Online education appears to be one of those disruptive innovations, and UMass is already a leader, with over 70,000 students across the country and around the world. UMass Online not only provides a reliable revenue stream for the university, but it also provides students with more flexible and affordable access to course credits and degrees. Another example is Match Education, which has launched a partnership with College for America to provide Boston area students who have dropped out of college with an opportunity to complete their associate's or bachelor's degrees online in a highly supported environment, including focused career counseling and job placement services, all for a cost that is almost fully covered by Pell Grants. Although discussions about new educational approaches often revolve around online learning, changing the model is not just about technology-enabled programs. It can also include things like accelerated three-year degrees and cooperative learning. A notable example of what's possible is the partnership that was just announced between GE and Northeastern for a Bachelor's of Science in Advanced Manufacturing, a three-year degree program costing a total of just $30,000, initially targeted to GE employees, but ultimately open and available to a broader range of undergraduates. Second principle, get focused, grow what works, and stop doing what doesn't. With scarce resources, you can't afford to pour good money after bad into failed initiatives in an effort to fix what's broken. You also can't afford to keep marginal programs on life support in hopes that they'll eventually get better or bigger. Instead, the most productive way to spend and invest is to focus on what you do best and expand what's already working. Not every success is easy to replicate, and not every failure is easy to walk away from, without creating painful dislocations for students and their families. Nevertheless, educational leaders need to be increasingly hard-headed when it comes to separating the wheat from the chaff. They also need to develop a clearer understanding of where their institutions add the most value and concentrate their resources on being the best in the world, or at least the best that they can be, in those vital few areas. As we all know, trying to be all things to all people is a formula for mediocrity. But even worse, it can undermine our ability to deliver on our core commitments. The third principle: align, coordinate, and integrate to maximize efficiency and value. Hand in hand with getting more focused is building a more coherent network among the various parts of our education system, both within and across sectors. To ensure all children are reading proficiently at the end of third grade, early education and K-12 need to work together. And that is a core element of a 5-city pilot program called the Preschool Expansion Grant, which is underway right now. To ensure that all students are ready for success in college and career, high schools and colleges need to create integrated pathways that students can easily follow to develop marketable workplace skills while getting a head start on post-secondary coursework. And this is the target of a joint initiative that's being sponsored by the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education and the Board of Higher Education in developing new early college pathways. To reduce costs and increase accessibility within higher education, our 28 undergraduate campuses need to better align their course catalogs, ensure the transferability of credits, avoid needless duplication of program offerings, and share resources to better serve students and employers within each region of the Commonwealth and across all 3 sectors: UMass, state universities, and community colleges. The good news on this front is that faculty from all of these institutions have been working diligently and persistently to do just that. And we are now on the verge of aligning 16 majors representing about 70% of the courses that students actually take. We recently made another important stride towards greater integration with the announcement of the Commonwealth Commitment, whereby the entire public higher education system has come together to establish a statewide credit transfer system, including significant savings of up to almost 50% for full-time students who first earn their associate's degree at any Massachusetts community college before enrolling in any 4-year college or university, including UMass. Within UMass, the 5 campuses are working together to identify system-wide efficiencies and savings through collaboration and shared services and key administrative functions like purchasing, energy, IT, and HR. These efforts have already saved tens of millions of dollars and promise to save even more in the future. A new initiative has just been launched to look for savings and opportunities through greater integration of academic programs across the campuses. Another example in a different part of our higher education system is the Communiversity initiative in Lynn, which is a collaboration between the City of Lynn, North Shore Community College, and Salem State to provide an accessible, affordable, and seamless pathway for students pursuing degrees and careers in information technology. The fourth principle: one size doesn't fit all, and it doesn't fit even most. The buzzword in education is personalization, which is a version of the more global trend towards mass customization. While there's more than a hint of faddishness to these terms, there's also an embedded kernel of truth. One of the greatest educational challenges, especially in high-need communities, is dealing with the wide range of students who come to school each day. Many of them are years behind their peers, while others, unfortunately too few, are well ahead. The wide variation of special needs, native languages, and social challenges that can manifest in a school community can be daunting, even for educators who are most skillful at differentiating their instruction. The implication is that the public education system at all levels needs to offer more diverse options, and that instructional methods, curriculum materials, and technology tools need to become more flexible and more closely linked with individual student needs and ongoing assessments of their progress. Meeting students where they are implies a different kind of approach than many educators are used to or comfortable with. It also implies the development and application of innovative approaches like competency-based education and stackable credentials, which don't always line up with the traditional academic department's calendars or credit hours. In other words, individualizing instruction isn't just about changing pedagogy. It's about changing systems and even organizational cultures. As a good example of this flexible, customized approach, Northern Essex Community College has just announced a new competency-based certificate program in computer applications, which enables working adults to access online skills-based curriculum on their own time and at their own pace with assistance of a learning coach. Finally, put the mission first. In attempting any transformational and lasting change, it is essential that we put institutional interests aside and focus on the larger mission. And what is our mission when it comes to public education, from early education right on through to higher ed? Although it's hard to come up with a single sentence that captures something this broad, here's my attempt. Creating opportunity for all to achieve success for themselves and their families in service to their communities, Commonwealth, and their country.